a lot of cobwebs in your head. You're getting rusty, so you say. You're feeling badly, and everything looks red. And say, you're getting worried, yes indeed. I know exactly what you need. A little sunshine will make you feel okay.
This meeting to order at 7:36.
Hey. Maybe you can see our recorder over in the top window. The wraparound window at the lighted area is Matt. I don't know why he doesn't want to be on TV. He's not going to speak.
Nah, I'm good. I'm right here.
Oh, there you go.
That's Matt. Okay. Anna, I have described to you with me is okay, wave when I call your name, Matt Betancourt.
No.
We don't have a Matt Betancourt. We do have a couple of Nicks. We have Nick B, and we have Nick G. Okay? Hello. And I just wanted you to know we have these people here.
Welcome.
I believe they are still going to be working for us after I retire on June 30th. So I hope you will take care of them for me when I go. And if you want to ask them any questions, now would be a good time. And if you have nothing to say, Mr. Chairman, I guess we could move on to the next agenda item.
Yep, let's move on to the next item.
Reports. I sent you my reports. The only difference is we in fact will not be doing any housing committee forum tomorrow. This had been requested by some of the open space people who were going to meet with the housing committee about plans for affordable housing in town. They wanted to have it recorded, but the chairman says for most of the time for their conversations with different community groups, she felt that the conversation would be more open if they didn't have a camera on them. So we've deleted that for tomorrow. Next week, COOPUP will be meeting live in here. They really would like to be recorded. And recreation, since COOPUP has been having longer meetings, recreation will be moving their meeting to the back room, and we will have the owl again now that we've had practice setting it up. Let's see. The camera that was broken up there, camera number 3, will be replaced on Friday. Their DNR Labs is also putting in some wiring into the senior center so that they can have a projector and a screen for when they do their matinees for their clientele after their luncheons. And so they've got a good deal with Woodbridge because they've also been taking care of the library for their audiovisual needs. And that's about it. I did want to remind you later, I'm going to ask you if we could move the May meeting from the 24th. I'm going to be going to Canada with my family. We're going to take my in-laws' ashes to be interred in the family plot in Beaverton, Ontario. And there is another Wednesday, I believe the 31st is the 5th Wednesday. Possibly move that. And then I looked at, in June, there is the National ACM Conference in Brooklyn. And the good day for that, I'd really like to be there for the Wednesday, which will be the 28th. So we might want to think about another day to meet. And I don't know if you have any questions about that report. Finances, we are still in the black. If I keep going at the rate I'm going, will be $4,000 for me, unless I just decide to stop working when the money runs out, or we can possibly get some of the money from the capital area that's left over from previous grants, as long as we remember to report that we've used it for personnel as well as some of the items that we've been buying. So, and we may or may not need to do that for other staff. So, got questions?
No. The one question I have for you, Pua, and for Mary and Teresa, is should we just have a motion to move the meeting in May to the 31st?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Teresa, you want to, oh,
That's fine with me.
okay. So I will move that the meeting on May 24th be moved to May 31st. One of you want a second?
I'll second. The meeting
Okay.
is changed to May 31st.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so motion passes unanimously.
Okay. 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 Grant application for next year. I can't think of any other big items that you might want to buy. If you have some ideas, give them to me. I can write up the grant application for you and get it in. Don't buy anything that you haven't figured out how you're going to install or train on. And that's something you might want to ask your staff, if there are other things that they think might be good to have around here. Coordinator position. I don't know if Tony Genovese or anybody else on the personnel committee has reached out to anybody in the commission.
Nope.
Do you want to reach out to them?
Yeah, I'll,
Yeah, thank you, Alden.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure I've got Tony's email address, so if you send that to me, that would be good.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. The other thing that I'm wondering about, actually, so I have two different comments related to the owl. I notice on the large banner across the top, it says remaining meeting time, just under 17 minutes.
Yeah, the
Yep.
clock is running on that.
Because I had to use my own Zoom and I don't have,
Oh,
I don't, okay.
okay.
I did send an email to everybody in case we run out, that, that we can, you know, there's another meeting in the offing if we need it.
Okay. As
It
a
will be-
side, yeah, as a side note, I have a paid Zoom, so if we need to use that, yeah,
That's-
or any other time, let me know.
I did last month. But I'll do it again next time.
And then the other thing is, in terms of how comfortable is everyone using the owl?
Absolutely nobody. Nobody, you know, people request it, but they want somebody else to take care of it for them. The staff that are not me feel like, you know, they're handling changes in WebEx and they're doing meetings and they really don't want to learn to do one more thing, even though I tell them once you get used to it, it's easy. Like I said, Recreation Commission wants to have it. They have a new staff person, a new office manager taking Jim Franco's place. And he said, well, he's really hoping that they will vote to have meetings in person. He seemed perfectly capable with WebEx and I offered to teach him. I think once he sees how it works, it won't be so scary. But
My suggestion is,
yes.
it was Sheila's suggestion that we purchase the owl. Why doesn't she go around and educate everybody? Because wasn't it put in at her suggestion? I think, you know, if she's well acquainted with how it works and all of that, she
Yep.
should probably go around to each meeting and actually just show it at the meeting, and maybe she'll get a volunteer that will see how easy it is and they'll volunteer to do it.
Maybe. It's been pointed out that right now everything is kind of moving more into normal times, shall we say? And maybe it won't be needed until next fall when we all start getting inoculated again and worried. But we had, what was it? Yesterday afternoon, there was the Freedom of Information workshop. And I waited to hear from Stephanie. I said, does anybody want to do WebEx in instead of being in the room? And she said, nobody told her, so we didn't set it up. It was a great little workshop and it was kind of crowded in here. Matt was here helping me record it. It's up on YouTube already if you'd like to have a look. We had the windows cracked open. It was a beautiful, warm, sunny day, so that may have been part of it. Few people had masks on. But you know, if I certainly wouldn't buy another owl again, a second owl, unless I heard more demand for it. And
so a few different thoughts on that. One is that was the starting point of my question of if it made sense to be considering another one. The other one was I was wondering if any of the staff here are people who are proficient with the owl and would be comfortable setting up and running a meeting using the owl.
Nobody, no. I'd have to say no. I'm trying to think.
I mean, we've set it up. We've used this 2-3 times. I mean,
In the past year.
we've set it up to where we know where to plug things in and where things need to go, but we're still trying to figure it out because, like Louis said, they asked for it, we got it, but nobody is using it. They are either just going fully in person or fully through WebEx and all staying home.
There are committees and commissions that think it's a great idea, but they want it done for them.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of the way committees and commissions have always been about everything, right? So that doesn't seem like any big surprise. And that if we're going to get people to start using technology, we probably have to take the lead ourselves.
Okay. So April 1st, WebEx will have a new format. And one of the options that the Recreation Commission uses, for example, the events format, is not going to be available anymore. So either they're going to have to learn how to use the webinar format or just have a meeting, which is what we've always done. And I've always had the information for the public to come in, but they never came in when we were in person anyway. So I never worried about it. I could see if people are interested in doing an owl workshop to see what it's like, but like I said, there's a hesitancy among staff as more and more of them are being, you know, coaxed into doing more minutes. They're hesitant to take on one more thing, but can offer.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a workshop necessarily makes sense at this particular point. And it's more of a, if people are asking, then seeing if somebody can go walk them through it. And, you know, as an opportunity for the staff here to get some experience.
There's that. Okay. I'm thinking especially of the Housing Committee. They wanted hybrid meeting, but I offered to be the host for the WebEx and get that out, but the staff person that was with them at the time said, I don't know if it's proprietorship or they feel responsible for having all the WebEx for that committee at a time, so it can always be found. They didn't want to set up a WebEx. They didn't want it to be set up. They said they felt more comfortable it was either all virtual or all in person. In the past, sometimes when we didn't have as many fine people working for us, and we're on. Okay. So the story about getting people to use the camera, Terry Belinsky was very good about it. She found the on button, she found the off button. I provided this once for Housing Committee, and Chris Sullivan, who's perfectly intelligent person, could not find the on button, or she couldn't be sure that it was on. So there was nothing from that, and I never offered the camera again. There's a reluctance to use technology, I think, and it always surprises me because I never thought of myself, I mean, as a particularly technologically trained person. Linguistics major, right? So I learned by reading the manuals and looking stuff up. And I don't know what that means for the future of using the owl. I think we're okay for the TV channel going forward, and the YouTube channel for that matter. You want me to ask people, what their feelings are about it?
No, well, I'd be curious to find out who else besides Sheila actually made the suggestion that we get the owl.
I think it was between me and Sheila and Alden. It seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, so, my sense is that it may be worth it to sort of hold off on anything further with the owl until we get to a point of there being, if there ends up being another COVID wave or some other reason that people start clamoring for more complicated hybrid meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And until that point, probably we just leave it as is.
I will say Bethany has been using a couple of owls with large screens on stands that roll around. The meeting spaces are smaller than they are in Woodbridge. And they use Zoom, and the public attends by Zoom because they don't all meet and fit in the meeting rooms. They're still getting used to it sometimes. I think they find the audio is a little bit tricky for them in their spaces, but they like to use it. So holding off on OWL for the meantime, I had a memo to you with some other ideas of things we could buy to use up some of our year-end funds on technical supplies. We've got about $600 left. We're using the capital fund to replace the camera up on the wall because it was part of a project that was funded with the grants. Thinking about battery backups for the transmission equipment and stuff. Anyway, I sent you that memo, so.
Yeah. I'm
So-
looking at the memo. There's nothing particularly outstanding that I see on this. We did have discussions about, looking further down the teleview captioning, which I am hesitant about given the ability of other systems to automated live capturing, which you talk a little bit about. And you do talk about the Premiere Pro requiring a Creative Cloud license for the captioning.
Yeah.
I don't know, where are we at with licensing for Premiere Pro?
We just buy we buy it when it's we buy the Elements version. And then it's good for as long as we want to hold on to it. At home, I use the 2014 version. Right now I've got, I think I have 2020 on the desktop computer. I bought 2023 for myself when it was on sale, and they have far fewer things. Anyway, so it's not a license. It's just Premier Elements, and you get the version for that year, and it's good for until you get bored with it and want to buy an upgraded version.
And you have sufficient versions?
I think, yeah, between the 2020 and my own 2014, that's fine.
Well, I'm thinking though about what happens in July.
Well, the 2020 version is still here on the desktop if anybody wants to.
Right, so we'll have one copy at that point then.
I have Premiere on my home
Okay.
computer.
And
Okay.
he has done editing too, although I haven't
Okay.
considered any of them.
Okay.
There should be some, just better. So, so for the time being, you want me to price out what Premier Pro would cost? We do have, for ongoing expenses, we already have the annual tech support for the TriCaster. It's still only 4 years old. I wouldn't think about upgrading it. It hasn't totally, there's always a glitch, but it hasn't really broken down on us. So.
Right.
There's time to revisit this.
Right. Yeah. Those, and some of it is because of my software perspective, right? So that's why I'm interested in making sure we have adequate access to Premiere Pro and anything. The other part is in terms of the TriCaster, if there's any NDI type software that would be beneficial to have.
No, NDI is free. And there's a whole suite that I never make use of.
Okay, there's additional aspects to NDI, such as the ability to use your phone as an NDI device, which probably.
If you have an iPhone, I don't think they have it for Android yet.
Okay, I thought they did, but
they may have. I should check again.
Yeah. And I don't know if any of our staff members have a geeky inclination, but if so, it might be interesting. They might want to think about what are some software tools that might make it so we can do more with the channel.
Okay.
I had a question about the editing. Does it have to be Premiere? Can you use different things, or is it?
Oh, you can use others.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if there was. I mean, I use a very basic. I use like Shotcut, which is like basic, like open source editing. It's like very.
As long as we can get an MP4.
Yeah.
Out of it, and
The titles on it.
yeah, basically there's not much editing because we do got gavel to gavel as much as we can catch. And I just like to put credits at the end so people know who's in charge of different things. Anna who was exploring moving to Cheshire, looked at the Cheshire Channel and was amazed that they didn't say who was at the meeting.
Yeah.
So I like to think that we have advanced in that way. But maybe I'm snooty about that. That, and when there's time, it's fun to make PSAs. I think Lauren Kelly, who lives in Orange, was an intern once before she finished up her senior year at Ithaca College, and we did one about watching out for stormwater, taking care of stormwater, and we got some good rainy day shots in Woodbridge for that. stuff like that takes more time than meetings though, so. So it all depends. Anyway,
I mean, there's also, I mean, as a person who makes video content and made stuff for like New Haven Public Access, the New Haven Public Access channel is kind of not as active right now, so it might be useful to maybe like reach out to other, I don't know how you go about doing that, but like maybe there's other, maybe there's other towns who would want to submit stuff to Woodbridge because they would play it on TV, because I think, so in case you want to, yeah.
there are ways we borrow content. From
Okay, okay.
And to each other, like, our past Freedom of Information workshops have been borrowed by people in Vermont and New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah, there is, it used to be called bicycling. When you borrow stuff from other people. Alden, when you think about software, what other things do you think of doing with the channel?
I don't really have any clear ideas. I'm sort of just trying to do a little bit of brainstorming around what we might want for the grant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. And so the idea of, there is that whole issue of what goes on around closed captioning that is sort of what got me talking a little bit about where Premiere Pro fits in, because that does closed captioning, or it does transcription. So, and because the other part is, I'm not sold on the TelView captioning. That just feels a little bit old school and overpriced to me.
Okay.
So that's why I was thinking about what the other options are.
I have taken the captions that are automatically generated on the YouTube versions, and I can load them onto our programs here. The one thing that the TelView version does that we can't do unless we want to feed all our content via Zoom into the TriCaster is the live captions.
Right.
And I still can't get feedback from people on anything. So I don't know that the captions are valuable. I hope they are.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're as valuable as the owl.
I haven't had any comments from people in TV land about the owl either.
Right.
So now if we make everything go away, then we'll hear from them about what they're missing. We could make the channel go black for a couple days. That might do something. Anyway, those are ideas. Okay, May we're set for. April should be as normal. And if you guys have other things you want to talk about, maybe you want to add them to your agenda as it's a regular meeting.
I think the only outstanding issue, which we addressed a little bit, is what's going on with finding a replacement for you after you retire. And that's one that when you send me Tony's email address, I will follow up with Tony and find out where things stand on that.
Okay.
So, Mary, Teresa, do either of you have anything to be added to the agenda?
Nope, the same question you have is, how is the search going?
Okay. And Teresa, or let's see, is it Nick, Matt, Nick, and Anna? Any of you have anything you want to add in at this point?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
If it's
Actually,
okay.
just one thing, as regarding the software discussion, one other option that you could work with that I've recently kind of gotten into, not as much as DaVinci Resolve. That's also good for editing. There is a free version of that available. If budget becomes an issue, but there is also a DaVinci Resolve Studio that I believe is paid.
Do you know if it puts closed captioning on your files?
I do not know.
Okay.
I've never heard of that one. That's a new one.
DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never.
It's
Oh, okay.
relatively
Oh.
newer.
Yeah. I'll send you a link.
Okay, go ahead, Anna.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I know that the later versions of Premiere Pro do have the captioning option. Once I believe I looked into it once the video's done edited or so. But there's a lot of editing software out there, and there's bound to be something that might have captioning for free. It's just a matter of finding the time to sit down and like really go through the internet and see if we can find something. But I'm gonna assume that both Nix, Matt, and I, from time to time, like, it'd be fine if they're okay with all getting together and we could brainstorm as well. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something we could find if we can't do Premiere Pro.
Okay.
Okay, any other items? Barring them, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
nice to see everyone.
Good night.
Nice to meet you.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.